There is a lot of heroes in BGs now, but did you know most of them were actually originally Hearthstone cards? So I thought it'd be fun to look at what they were as Hearthstone cards and compare the two to see where the heroes came from and where they are now. First up, we have Alec here, which is a pretty fun hero to play in BGs with the hero power Swatting Insects, which is a passive at the start of combat. Give your leftmost minion Wind Fury, Divine Shield, and Taunt. Where compared to regular Hearthstone, Alec here is a legendary minion that has charged, Divine Shield, Taunt, and Wind Fury, so they did a pretty good job replicating him in BGs. The next one is Alexstrasza, which her hero power is Queen of the Dragons. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern to tier 5, discover 2 dragons. Where Alexstrasza is a 9-mana 8/8 battlecry, set a hero's remaining health to 15. Not really the same thing. Wonder if it would be too broken if when Alex died, her health was reset back to 15. I guess that's basically Ice Block. Archvillain Rafam is our next hero, and he has a hero power of 1 gold. Next combat, add a plain copy of the first minion you kill to your hand. When it comes to Hearthstone, there are 2 versions of Rafam, but one is only called Archvillain Rafam, which is the battle cry to replace your hand in deck with legendary minions. It's not really the same thing, but when Rafam was first introduced, his gimmick was that he would take your deck in the adventure, so I'm guessing that's where they got the hero power from.
I like your day. I think I will take it.
Next, we have Brukan, and Brukan, it basically has the hero power to embrace all of the elements. This is clearly based on the Brukan hero released in Fractured and Alterac Valley, which is virtually the same thing. Cthulhu is our next one, and Cthulhu's hero power is Saturday. Cthulhu's at the end of your turn, give a friendly minion +1/+1 and repeats for each time you've used the hero power. Where the original Cthulhu, which I'm guessing this was based off, had a battle cry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack, randomly split among all enemies, which is basically the same thing, except for rather than dealing damage, you're buffing up your board in Battlegrounds. So we have Captain Hooktusk, which has the hero power Trash for Treasure, which is to remove a friendly minion, choose 1 of 2 from a tavern tier lower to keep. Captain Hooktusk in Hearthstone was much different, with a battle cry to summon 3 pirates from your deck and to give them rush. Don't really see how they can translate this effect to Battlegrounds. Next, we have Cariel Rome, which has a really interesting hero power that ranks up with Conviction. Give a random friendly minion +1/+1, which upgrades, where in standard Cariel Rome has Rush, Divine Shield. Whenever this attacks, reduce the cost of holy spells in your hand by 1. There's no holy spells in Battlegrounds yet. I can see why they couldn't translate this, but Conviction is actually a card that does rank up based on your mana. Chenvala is our next hero, which has the passive Avalanche. After you play 3 elementals, reduce the cost of upgrading Bob's Tavern by 3. Where Chenvala in standard was after you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental, which is almost the same thing. I think they translated it pretty well. Next, we have Cookie the Cook, which has the hero power Stir the Pot. Throw a minion in your pot. When you've gathered 3, discover from their minion types. Where the card in standard, Cookie doesn't really do the same thing at all. He has Lifesteal and a Death Rattle to equip a 2/3 Stirring Rod, which is a weapon with Lifesteal. Now, considering that obviously there's no weapons in Battlegrounds, I think they couldn't really translate the effect well. Next, we have Death Speaker Blackthorn, which has the passive hero power Bloodbound. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern, gain 2 blood gems. Where in standard, Blackthorn doesn't have the same effect at all, which has a battle cry to summon 3 Death Rattle minions that cost 5 or less from your deck. Now, considering there's no deck in Battlegrounds and there's also no blood gems in standard, this card is clearly different. Next, we have Deathwing, which has the hero passive All Will Burn. All minions have +2 attack. Now, there is multiple versions of Deathwing in Hearthstone, but I'm going to focus on the one that has the same name, which is the original Deathwing, which had a battle cry, destroy all other minions and discard your hand. Obviously, not even close to being the same. Next, we have Dino Tamer Brand, which has the passive hero power Battle Brand. After you buy 5 Battlecry minions, add Brand Bronzebeard to your hand. Where with Dino Tamer Bran in standard, they had the unique battle cry of if your deck has no duplicates, summon King Crush. I guess because both have some kind of summon or generation, this effect kind of translated over well. I'm not really sure. Next we have Drekthar, which has the hero power lead the Frost Wolves, choose a friendly minion, it copies the attack of your highest attack minion for the next combat only. Where Drekthar in standard is a completely different effect, which has the battle cry if this costs more than every other minion in your deck, summon 2 of them. Yeah, I don't know how they translate this effect. Next we have Edwin Van Cleef, which has the hero power Sharpen Blades, give a friendly minion +2/+1 for each minion you bought this turn. Where in standard, Edwin Van Cleef has the combo gain +2/+2 for each other card you've played this turn. I think they did a really good job translating the effect over. Next we have Elise Starseeker, which has the hero power Lead Explorer, passive when you upgrade Bob's Tavern, get a recruitment map. Where Elise as a card used to be Battlecry, shuffle the map to the Golden Monkey into your deck. Golden Monkey map, recruitment map, pretty much the same thing. I think they did a good job. Next we have Omu, which has the passive hero power Everbloom. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern, gain 2 gold this turn only. Where in Hearthstone, Omu had the spell burst effect, refresh your mana crystals, which is a pretty good representation of what the BG hero power is. Next we have Galakron, which hero power is Galakron's Greed. Choose a minion in Bob's Tavern, discover a higher tier minion to replace it. In standard Hearthstone, Galakron is a much different card, which is not only a completely different effect when played, the hero power is much different. Next we have is Greybow with the hero power Sprout It Out. It's a passive that gives +1/+2 and taunt to minions summoned during combat. In regular Hearthstone, Greybow is a little bit different with taunt and a death rattle to give a random friendly minion death rattle summon Greybow. Considering Greybow is not a minion in BGs, I think they did a pretty good job. Next we have Guff Rune Totem, which has the hero power Natural Balance, which is give a friendly minion of each tavern tier +1/+1. Where in standard, Guff Rune Totem has the ability after you cast a nature spell, give another friendly minion +2/+2. Considering there's no nature spells, I think they did a pretty good job. Next we have Illidan with the hero power Wingman, which is a passive ability at the start of combat. Your left and rightmost minions gain +2 attack and attack immediately. In Hearthstone, he wasn't only just a class, they used to have a card back in Classic with Illidan. Whenever you play a card, summon a 2/1 Flame of Azzinoth, which obviously the hero power and the effect don't really go together. Next we have Toki, which has an interesting hero power of Temporal Tavern, refresh Bob's Tavern, include a minion from a higher tavern tier. Where in standard, Toki used to have the battle cry add a random legendary minion from the past to your hand. Considering both the BG ability and the standard ability both have to do with time, I think they did a pretty good job. Next we have Janice Barov, which has the hero power swap, lock, and shop it. Swap a friendly non-golden minion with a minion in Bob's Tavern. In standard Hearthstone, Janice has the battle cry to summon 2 random 5-cost minions, and you secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. Considering that you can't really summon something like this in BGs, I guess the effect is okay. Next we have is Kel'Thas with the passive hero power Verdant Spheres. Every 3 minion you buy gains +2/+2. Where in standard, Kel'Thas has every 3rd spell you cast each turn cost 1. They both have to deal with 3 things. I think they did a good job. Next we have is King Mukla with the hero power Bananarama. Get 2 bananas at the end of your turn, give everyone else 1. In regular Hearthstone, Mukla had the ability to give your opponent 2 bananas. It's kind of the same thing, and I think they did a pretty good job. Next we have is Kurtrus, which has the unique hero power that kind of ramps up as you buy minions in a turn, but the final one is Close the Portal, which gives all your minions +2/+2 and you complete his quest. Where in standard, Final Showdown is the quest line from United Stormwind that gives you Kurtrus, and Kurtrus is for the rest of the game, cards you draw cost 2 less. I think in comparison wise, they did a really good job. Next we have is Lord Barov with the hero power Friendly Wager, which is to guess which player will win their next combat, and if they win, you get 3 coins. In standard, Lord Barov has the battle cry to set the health of all other minions to 1 and the death rattle to deal 1 damage to all minions. If this effect was in Battlegrounds, this would be broken. Next we have Lord Jaraxxus, which has the hero power Blood Fury, give your demons +1/+1. In standard, you become Lord Jaraxxus and you get his weapon and you summon a 6/6 demon every single turn. Basically, not even close to the same effect. Next we have is Maiev with the hero power Imprison, make a minion in Bob's Tavern dormant. After 3 turns, get it with +2/+2. Where in standard, Maiev has the battle cry to choose a minion, it goes dormant for 2 turns. Basically, it's pretty close, and I think they did a pretty good job encapsulating Maiev. Next we have is Malygos with the hero power Arcane Alteration, which is to replace a minion with a random one of the same tavern tier, which you could do twice a turn. Where Malygos in standard just had +5 spell damage, which there's no spells in Battlegrounds, so yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Next we have the Millhouse Mana Storm with the hero power Mana Storm. It's a passive where minions cost 2 gold, refresh cost 2 gold, and tavern tiers cost 1 more. Where in standard, Millhouse Mana Storm had the battle cry enemy spells cost 0 next turn. Yeah, there's just no way that they don't really translate at all. Next we have is Mutinous with the hero power Devour, which is remove a friendly minion, spit its stats onto another, get 1 gold. Where in standard, Mutinous has the battle cry to eat a minion in your opponent's hand and gain its stats. They don't really have hands in Battlegrounds, but considering they're both eating something, I think they did pretty good. Next we have is N'Zoth, which has the passive hero power Avatar of N'Zoth. Start the game with a 2/2 fish that gains all your death rattles in combat. Now, considering the original Zoth had the battle cry summon your death rattle minions that died this game, they did a very good job translating this to Battlegrounds. Next we have Nozdormu, which has the hero power Clairvoyance passive, your first refresh each turn costs 0. Where in standard, Nozdormu had players only have 15 seconds to take their turns. Now consider he's the Dragon of Time, I think they did a pretty good job translating it over to BGs. Next we have Overlord Sourfang with the hero power for the Horde, which gives X attack to the next minion you buy this turn and it upgrades. Where Sourfang in standard has the battle cry resurrect 2 friendly frenzy minions, deal 1 damage to all other minions. Considering there's no frenzies in BGs, this effect didn't really translate. Next we have Patches the Pirate, which has the hero power Pirate Party. Get a pirate. After you buy a pirate, your next hero power cost 1 less. Where in standard, Patches the Pirate has after you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck. Again, there's not really a deck in Battlegrounds, so this effect wouldn't translate well. Next we have Ragnaros the Fire Lord, which has the hero power Die Insects, a passive after you kill 25 enemy minions, you get Sulphurous, which Sulphurous is at the end of your turn, give your left and rightmost minions +3/+3. Rag, on the other hand, has can't attack at the end of your turn, deal 8 damage to a random enemy. Now, Sulphurous doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but his older hero power did. Go check that video out. Reno Jackson is our next hero who has the hero power Gonna Be Rich, make a friendly minion golden. Reno in Hearthstone has the battle cry, if your deck has no duplicates, fully heal your hero. So the effect didn't really translate, but when you play Reno in standard, he says, gonna be rich. Next we have Scab's Cutter Butter, which has the hero power I Spy, discover a plain copy of a minion from your next opponent's warband. In standard, Scab's Cutter Butter has the combo, the next 2 cards you play this turn cost 3 less. I think the translation's okay. I Spy gives you a discount on a minion, so does Scabs gives you mana discounts in standard. It's kind of the same thing. Next we have is Shutterwalk, which has the hero power Snicker Snack, which is adding a 1/1 shuttling to your hand that repeats all the battle cries you've played. You get this twice per game. Where in Hearthstone, Shutterwalk has the battle cry to repeat all other battle cries from cards you played this game. I think they did a phenomenal job showcasing Shutterwalk in Battlegrounds. Next, we have Silas Darkmoon, which has the hero power Come One, Come All, a passive. Darkmoon tickets are in the tavern. Get 3 to discover a minion from your tavern tier. Where in Hearthstone, Silas has the battle cry Choose a direction to rotate all minions. Don't know how they would translate this effect over, but imagine if they did in Battlegrounds. Next, we have Sindragosa, which has the hero power Stay Frosty, freeze a minion in Bob's Tavern. Frozen minions get +2/+1 each turn. Where in Hearthstone, Sindragosa has the battle cry to summon 2 0/1 frozen champions. Kind of the same effect. They're both dealing with freezing. I don't know. Let me know. Sir Finley Murgleton is our next one, who has the hero power of basically picking a new hero power. Sir Finley in Hearthstone had the battle cry to discover a new basic hero power, which is arguably the best translation we have seen to Battlegrounds. Next, we have Sky Captain Craig with his hero power Piggy Bank. Gain 1 gold this turn, increases each turn. Where in Hearthstone, Craig has charge, costs 1 less for each friendly pirate. Considering there is no charge in Battlegrounds, obviously they couldn't really translate that well. Next, we have Sneed, who has Sneed's Replicator. Give a friendly minion death rattle, summon a random minion of the same tier. Well, there's no Sneeds in Hearthstone, but there is Sneed's Old Shredder, which is ironically a Battlegrounds minion, so it all came full circle. Next, we have Temsin Rome, who has the hero power Fragrant Phylactery. Start a combat, destroy your lowest health minion, give its stats to all your others. Where in Hearthstone, Temsin has whenever you cast a shadow spell that costs 1 or more, add a copy to your hand that costs 0. They don't have shadow spells in BGs, so yeah, they couldn't translate it. Next, we have Tess Greymane, who has the hero power Bob's Burgles. Refresh Bob's Tavern with your last opponent's warband. Tess in Hearthstone had the battle cry to replay every card from another class you played this game. I think they did a really good job translating this effect over, almost as good as Sir Finley. Next, we have the Curator, which has the passive hero power Menagerous. Start the game with a 2/2 amalgam with all minion types. In Hearthstone, the Curator had Taunt, a battle cry to draw a beast, dragon, and Murloc from your deck. So basically Menagerie in card draw form. Good job. Next, we have the Lich King, which has the hero power Reborn Rights. Give a friendly minion Reborn for the next combat only. Where in Hearthstone, the Lich King has Taunt. At the end of your turn, add a random Death Knight card to your hand. Don't really know where they got the Reborn. I guess it's more lore based than it is mechanics. Next, we have Ticketus, who has the passive hero power Prize Wall. Every 4 turns, discover a Dark Moon prize. Ticketus had a completely different effect in regular Hearthstone, which we don't have any decks in Battlegrounds, so the translation is impossible. But he did come out during Darkmoon Fair, so I guess the hero power kind of makes sense. Next, we have Trade Prince Gallywix, which has the passive hero power Smart Savings. Passive, after you sell a minion, get 1 extra gold next turn. Where in Standard, Gallywix had whenever your opponent casts a spell, gain a copy of it and give them the coin. Not really the same thing, I guess. Next, we have Vol'jin, who has the hero power Spirit Swap. Choose 2 minions, swap their stats. Where Vol'jin in regular Hearthstone had the battle cry Swap Health with another minion. So it kind of is the same thing. That's a pretty good translation in my opinion. Xyrella is our next one, who has the hero power See the Light. Choose a minion in Bob's Tavern to add to your hand, set its stats to 2. Where in regular Hearthstone, Xyrella has the battle cry if you restored health this turn, deal that much damage to all enemy minions. Considering you can't really heal in Battlegrounds, the translation does not make a whole lot of sense. Next, we have Yasharaj with his hero power Embrace Your Rage. Start of combat, summon a minion from your tavern tier, add a copy to your hand. Yasharaj in Hearthstone was at the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. I actually think the translation here makes a lot of sense considering there is no deck in Battlegrounds. Next, we have Yogg-Saron with his hero power Puzzle Box. Add a random minion in Bob Tavern to your hand, give it +1/+1. In regular Hearthstone, Yogg-Saron casted a random spell for each spell you've casted this game. I think they did a pretty good job representing the RNG factor of Yogg. Next, we have Ysera, whose passive is Dream Portal. Bob always offers you an extra dragon whenever the tavern is refreshed. So they didn't do this on the original Ysera, but Ysera Unleash in Standard was Battlecry shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. So I guess it kind of makes sense with the whole Dream Portal effect. Last but not least, we have Zephyrus, whose hero power is 3 wishes. If you have 2 copies of a minion, find the 3rd one. Zephyrus in Hearthstone was Battlecry if your deck has no duplicates, wish for the perfect card. So I guess the translation makes sense because in BGs, you're looking for the perfect card. Hope you ended up enjoying the video. If you did, subscribe. You look fantastic. I'll see you in the next one.